Our next candidate for State Assembly District 7 is Steve Cohn. He brings with him over 20 years of public service to his candidacy for the State Assembly. The Sacramento region has significantly benefited under his leadership over the last years. He was very instrumental in rebuilding McKinley Park Playground that was destroyed by a fire. He worked closely with the local community in developing many of the region's most popular community events like Pops in the Park, Screen on the Green, and Second Saturday. His strong public service record for Sacramento includes his initiatives to create new jobs, improve public safety, improve public schools, and make Sacramento area one of the most environmentally friendly communities in the county, in the country. As a member of the Think Big Sacramento Initiative, he is a major player in formulating the plan to bring a downtown entertainment and sports center. The center will bring thousands of jobs and will provide an economic boost for downtown Sacramento and the surrounding neighborhoods. Please help me in welcoming Steve Cohn.
Well, thank you so much, Alice, for that very kind introduction. Alice and I had an opportunity to work together for a number of years at our local electric utility there, SMUD. And during that time, I know Alice was instrumental in one of the best things SMUD did was create a working group that met every month to meet with the Hispanic Chamber, with the Sacramento Black Chamber, Asian Chamber, other small chambers, to go over not just jobs that were already noticed, contracting opportunities, but talk about what might be coming up in the future so people could prepare for bids. And we missed that. I know both Alice and I are no longer at SMUD, but they're limping along. I should also say, buenas tardes. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon for this forum. I have been on the council 20 years. You will prefer that I speak in English rather than Spanish because I don't want to butcher your mother tongue. Although I did take 3 years of Spanish, but unless you live in a Spanish-speaking country, you don't want to hear me speak it. I know my wife doesn't because she's a Spanish teacher and she just shakes her head. But I can't understand, so be careful when you're saying something. I do understand and read Spanish, I just don't speak it very well. It's been a great honor for me to serve this community on the city council for 20 years. I decided to run for assembly after I decided not to run for city council. I thought it's time to let somebody else take that over. And then I realized I wasn't quite ready to give up public service. I really do have a vision for what I'd love to see us do in our community, especially here in Sacramento. But a lot of that depends on what goes on statewide. And it's really three major topics that we're talking about: the economy, education, and the environment. When it comes to the economy, if we learned anything in the last few years after the recession that hit Sacramento, it should have been that we cannot rely just on state government jobs and on housing construction, because that was really the base of our economy, along with agriculture, which has always been strong. We have to diversify. There's been a lot of talk about the arena and what it will do for downtown. I do support and think it'll be great for downtown, but that's not enough. We have to do a lot more to create opportunities for folks from throughout our great community. And one of the things we have to do is work together, not just Democrats alone. We don't have a 2/3 majority at the moment. We need to work with Republicans. We need to work with independents to make sure that our climate here is right. And part of that is having our education system a much better system than what we have today. And I have to say that one of the areas I would really want to focus on is linked learning, where it used to be called vocational education. That's not the popular thing to call it anymore. The idea, though, is to link education, starting even in high school, with job opportunities, job training, get employers more engaged early on. And that can lead to college also. It isn't just for vocational training, but to have students preparing for the workforce. Our Senator Steinberg had a bill where he funded that as a starter, but that's got to be something that goes on and on into the future. On the environment, I've been a real leader in transportation, climate change, energy. I would look to continue that. In fact, those are probably the areas I will want to focus on in the Assembly, together with water policy, which is so important to our region, and along with too little water in Sacramento, we know about too much water. We get it both ways. Flood control is also very important for our community, and something you can rely on me to be a strong partner. Kind of what symbolizes what I'm trying to do a little differently is who's supporting me. You know, on the city council, I have the support of all of the council members in the district, in the Assembly district, save one who is a very honorable man. He's in the audience, but he happens to be running against me. So I do have the mayor and the 5 other council members that are within my Assembly district supporting me. I think that's because I know how to work with my colleagues and get things done. I've done that on the Capitol Corridor, trying to improve and succeeding in taking that service because I know how to work with my colleagues and get things done. I've done that on the Capitol Corridor, trying to improve and succeeding in taking that service to the fastest growing rail service in the entire country. But we can do better, we can do more, and that's the kind of thing I'll be doing if I get elected to the Assembly. So I want to thank you for this opportunity and be happy to answer any questions. Yes, ma'am. Oh, did you want, you can applaud if you want. I called the question too soon. All right.
I'm Lola Wilson.
Yes, I recognize you.
I live in your district. Following up on Justice Reynoso's focus on ethics in politics, how do you balance the need of moneyed interests and the needs of your constituents?
That's a great question, and the Supreme Court unfortunately has made this very, very difficult for us. Not impossible, but certainly with recent rulings. And frankly, I think we're going to need a constitutional amendment at the federal level to make it clear that money is not speech, particularly when it comes to campaigns for elected office. Money should not be equated with speech. But that's effectively what the Supreme Court has said. So I think right now we're very limited in what we can do. 15 years ago, I led a complete change in our local campaign reform ordinances so that we restored contribution limits. We created a limit even on independent expenditures, what people could contribute to an i.e. committee for a candidate. We did lobbyist registration, we did online reporting, and we did public financing. Only 2 of those things are left. The online reporting and the contribution limits we still have. For how long, I don't know, because the way the Supreme Court's going, those may be out the door pretty soon. Actually, we do still have lobbyist registration as well. But the real problem is we have no way to control independent expenditures or the influence of money that can lead to that, except by having people elected who are strong enough to be able to stand up to that kind of temptation and that kind of special interest. I do not, to use an example in the legislature, I do not think it was enough to just suspend, and I would know with pay, the 3 senators. One of them was actually convicted of a felony, and the other 2 who haven't been convicted yet. But let's keep in mind, the burden of proof to serve your state and your country shouldn't be the same burden of proof in a criminal courtroom. I don't think proof beyond a reasonable doubt is the right standard of evidence when you're talking about whether someone is fit to serve as an elected representative. The 3 Senate districts represented by those people now have no one representing them, and that's wrong. So we're going to have to do a lot more in that area as well. Anything else? All right. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Steve, 4 years ago, the city of Sacramento had a vote on boycotting Arizona for its disastrous effect it had on the Latino community.
I remember that.
Can you tell us why you voted no?
I did not vote no, but I'll tell you why I did not vote yes.
Okay.
I did write a letter and stood up to say that what they did was wrong. But I would note there have been at least 7 other states who have done likewise, also wrong. And it may be more than that at this point. And who have done even worse things in Arizona, believe it or not, it's hard to believe. But Alabama, a few others. We have not sought to do the same with these other states. To me, the right thing to do would have been to take a strong position, which is what I recommended, condemning what Arizona did, and calling for federal legislation or the federal courts to overturn, which they only overturned in part. So we do need federal legislation to obviously be more clear. That to me would be more productive than picking out one single state such as Arizona. I also was troubled by how we would exactly enforce it, and to be honest, we haven't. So it became more symbolic, picking on Arizona, which they deserve, I suppose, to be picked on, or at least their legislature and governor. But why haven't we done likewise with the other states that have enacted even worse laws than Arizona? I think we should be more positive about condemn in no uncertain terms, but then actually seek to change the law rather than just a symbolic boycott. So I know that was not a popular position at the time, but that's the way I feel about it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.